Welcome to a special episode of Hero with 1,000 Potions, a very different episode from any episode we've published so far. This is a video game travelogue, which is not something I've ever heard of before, but that's what I'm doing here. Before we get underway, let me explain the idea. Typically, and well outside of the world of video games, a travelogue is a record of a traveler's personal experiences as they embark on an adventure. Most of the time, the content is written in the first-person perspective of the traveler themselves. It is an essay, a platform for a single point of view in service of a personal narrative that sheds light on someone's thoughts. Their joys, successes, frustrations, failures, and everything in between is a means to relate their journey as they saw to others. In February 2022, when Nintendo announced EarthBound and its predecessor, EarthBound Beginnings, is joining the Nintendo Switch's library of games on their virtual retro consoles, I knew I wanted to do something about this series to celebrate it on this podcast. But what? EarthBound, the sequel to EarthBound Beginnings, has always been near and dear to me, but I've never played the original. Then this harebrained idea came to me. I could play EarthBound Beginnings and share my experience. My experience. All of my cleverness and all of my foolishness. Everything I experienced and nothing I didn't. A very warts-and-all approach in podcast form. This is not a review of EarthBound Beginnings. We will not be going over the game's development history. I am not going to compare and contrast EarthBound Beginnings' gameplay with other entries of the Mother series. I'm not here to rate the game some number out of 5 or 10, and I'm not even going to make a recommendation that you should play it. And as for as much as I appreciate him, I am not going to discuss series creator Shigesato Itoi's unusual and extraordinary life accomplishments. And I'm not going to talk about how this game and its sequels became the cult classics they are today. There are plenty of videos and articles on the internet that will share that with you. We don't need more of that. But what I'm not seeing on the internet is EarthBound Beginnings retold as a story from the perspective of a player experiencing it as it unfolds before them, from the game's very beginning to its very end, each moment richly detailed with illustrative descriptions that paints a picture in the listener's mind of what it was like to play EarthBound Beginnings on the Nintendo Switch as I did, without needing to have played it themselves. That's what I want to do here, plus include my reactions, thoughts, theories, and some interesting and humorous surprises along the way. As I've been working on this, I wondered if this could be a new form of retro entertainment, becoming a subgenre of gaming videos that would sit quite comfortable at the lunch table with retro reviews, let's plays, fan theory analyses, iceberg explained videos, and things like that. This is video gaming reimagined, elevating the emotional connections a game forges with its player to the level of storytelling, folklore, oral history. This is a love letter to a quirky, subversive, genre-twisting role-playing game first released more than 33 years ago, and a time capsule preserving the memory of a dusty corner in a rapidly aging era of the interactive arts. This is No Crying Until the End, an EarthBound Beginnings travelogue. When the game loads, we're treated to a black screen. Sensitive but profound music plays. The words "produced by Nintendo, presented by Shigesato Itoi" appear, and then the title screen. The words Earth and Bound appear in red letters against a black background, with the O in Bound replaced with a spinning planet Earth, a blue globe brushed by white clouds. I select an empty game file and press Start Up. The sprite of a young boy appears. I'm prompted with the question, what is this boy's name? I enter Ninten, N-I-N-T-E-N. The sprite of a young girl in a pink outfit appears. Same question. I know her name is Anna, A-N-A. I input it. Another young boy with glasses and a red outfit appears. Same question. I know his name is Lloyd, L-O-I-D. I rename him Lloyd, spelled L-L-O-Y-D, because I'm not going to read that name with that spelling all game long. I'm just not. A tough-looking man with exposed buff arms, a big nose, and black shades appears. His name is Teddy, T-E-D-D-Y. I input it. I'm asked, what is your favorite food? The canon answer is prime rib. Good answer. So I pick prime rib, but I can't find a space character, so I hyphenate the cuisine's name. The next screen reviews all of my selections. Ninten, Anna, Lloyd, Teddy, and prime-rib. Is this okay? I select yes. The next screen progressively fills with text. It says,
in the early 1900s, a dark shadow covered a small country town in rural America. At that time, a young married couple vanished mysteriously from their home. The man's name was George, and the woman's name is Maria. 2 years later, as suddenly as he left, George returned. He never told anyone where he had been or what he had done, but he began an odd study, all by himself. As for his wife, she never returned. 80 years has passed since then.
Thanks, Prologue Kid. Next screen, we take control of Nintendo, an unassuming, all-American, apple-cheeked, baseball cap-wearing 12-year-old. He's sitting on a white recliner in his bedroom. A blue lamp sits on the floor adjacent to it. The walls and ceiling are the same dull cream color. A bed sits off to the side, and a dresser drawer is across the room. I attempt to leave the room, and the lamp comes to life. It rotates around the room, and I battle it. It has a toothy grin, although I might be projecting pareidolia onto its 8-bit rendering. I attack it with my bare hands. After a few punches, it goes back to normal. What is this? I have a PSI power called telepathy, but nothing happens when I use it. PSI, well that's short for psychic powers, by the way. Now the house is shaking. I run out of my room to the hallway and enter the next bedroom. It's my sister's room. Her lamp has also come to life. I bash it until it doesn't move anymore. The girl, my sister, says, "Oh, my brother, the house is falling apart, boo-hoo." In the following room, I found another girl. Do I have 2 sisters? Her doll has come to life and is threatening her. I attack it, and it looks creepy as fuck. After beating it into submission, the doll is now resting on the dresser drawer. When I check it, I discover it has a music box, which plays 5 notes of a pretty melody. The screen flashes with psychedelic colors. Am I having a seizure? Then a prompt says, Nintendo remembered the tune. In my status menu, a single music note appears in a box I'm just going to call our melody meter. It looks like we have 7 more melodies to discover. I go to the lower level of the house. Mom and my sisters are here. My sisters' names are Minnie and Mimi. And Minnie functions a lot like Escargot Express from EarthBound. I give them items and she stores them because we have limited inventory space in this game. Both of my sisters give me orange juice, which will restore my health. Mother is blocking the door and the phone rings. It's Dad. He calls this phenomenon a poltergeist, but I have to ask, how did he know about this if he's not here? And where is he? Dad recommends I find something in the basement. The door is locked and Dad has forgotten where the key is. Then he says I'm about to go on an adventure and offers to save my game. I go outside. Our house is a small 2-story wooden house painted white with a gray roof and a chimney, although I don't remember seeing a chimney inside. 6 trees encircle the house and the property is lined by a simple wooden fence. We have a dog and I talk to him. So I guess I can talk to animals. He invites me to check him, and when I check him, I find a key on his collar. Is this the key to the basement? I return to the interior of the house, and yes, it is the key to the basement. I go in. There are 3 present boxes in the basement. I open them because that's what kids do. We open presents. One has a special item in it, GGF's diary. That must mean great-grandfather. The other presents have a loaf of bread and a plastic bat. I equip the plastic bat and my offense in battle increases by a trace amount. The diary was hard to read, but I read a page of it and it goes like this. Password. The one who lost the tale. The forgotten one. The ship that sails. ... And you know what? That's all I read of my great-grandfather's diary. Surely these words will be relevant on my journey. Oh, and there are random battles down here. A rat draws near. I bash it. It seems my ability to speak with animals has come at a cost because this rat utters dirty words that lower my attack. When it's defeated, the rat becomes quiet. One rat after level 3, I develop a new PSI power through battle. It's called Life Up Alpha, a health restoration ability. Awesome. I stick around this basement to gain more experience on these rats. It's taking a while to find the rats now. What happened to these random battles? What is this, an Undertale genocide run? While I'm pathing around the basement looking for battles, I realize I can move diagonally, in addition to up, down, left, and right. I am pleased. This makes using the Switch's joystick much more appealing. I do my best Charlie Kelly impression and beat rats with my rat stick until I hit level 4. Oh, another PSI power? But my PSI menu only has 2 powers that I had before. I leave the house and explore the area beyond our simple wooden fence. I encounter a stray dog. He's big, brown, bears a mouth of sharp white teeth, and wears a collar with broken metal chain links hanging off it. I bash it until it goes back to normal. I walk through a dirt path along a forest and alongside a stream until I discover a woman in a pink dress and pink hair is panicking outside of a baby poop green colored house. Her child, named Pippi, is missing. She says if I'm going to Podunk, please tell the mayor. I walk past a sign that directs me to the, quote, Canary Village Wildlife Refuge. Then I get attacked by a hippie. The hippie is meditating. The hippie regains its senses. The hippie also has an attack up power and flies into a rage, but I beat him. I wander towards the Canary Village Wildlife Refuge. This might not be the way to Podunk, but who cares? I run into 2 hyenas. They have much more health than the stray dog and the hippie. Occasionally the hyena just grins and bears it, wasting its turn. When I bash it enough, the hyenas go quiet. What? Now a gorilla attacks. Okay, his posture is very weird, like he turns his head to look at me, but he's standing in profile. And he stole my orange juice. Ugh, I bash him. He smashes me for 20 damage. Now, you should know that a smash is a critical hit that ignores the target's defenses. 20 damage is half my health. Ugh, what am I thinking? This plastic bat and I are no match for a gorilla. So I flee the battle. Eventually, I'm getting a sense that these enemies are getting too strong for me, and I really don't have the resources to sustain my health much longer. So I turn around and look for the path to Podunk. On my way back, I encounter a crow. He or she is wearing red high heel shoes, and I bash it, and it also goes back to normal. Now a farmer attacks. Okay, he's an elder gentleman with a pitchfork wearing blue overalls. His name is Wally, and he has an attack up skill, kind of like the hippie does. I beat him with my plastic bat until he runs back to his homestead. At last I have reached the city limits of Podunk. It's oriented roughly south of Nintendo's house and southeast of the forest path which led me to Canary Village. Here the roads are paved and there are an array of buildings, residential houses, and no fewer than 10 flower gardens. I speak with the residents. A woman asks me if we've been visited by a poltergeist and that one has destroyed her house. A mouse tells me I can only enter houses with doors that have a rounded top. I encounter another crow, and this one steals my other OJ. I am now totally out of OJ. I enter a hotel. Its door is square, not rounded, but it did have a hotel sign hanging above it. A child in the hotel says, "You are that snot-nosed Nintendo I sat next to in kindergarten." Look kid, nobody uses snot-nosed to describe someone's peer. That's an intergenerational term. I leave the hotel and check out the fast food restaurant. It sells OJ for $5, French fries for $15, and hamburgers for $25. I buy nothing because my money is precious to me and I don't want any more food stolen from me. I enter City Hall by a square-topped door. The secretary says that they will share a secret with me later. The mayor tasks me to help him find a child that has wandered into the cemetery. He's up for re-election and it would really help him out. The mayor says he will be a hero when he recovers the child. And I wonder if this lost child is Pippi that I heard about earlier. I visit the department store. It has an ATM and a payphone. I have a cash card in my inventory and I use it at the ATM. My father has been depositing money into my account every time I complete a battle. Each foe I encounter has a specific monetary value, like a bounty. Rats are worth $2, crows $4, stray dogs $10, hippies and wallies are each worth $35. The drugstore sells antidotes, asthma sprays, life-up creams, insecticide, most of which are too pricey for me. Ooh, but there's a wooden bat worth $500. I grind for that money immediately because doing more damage in battles means I can end battles sooner, which exposes me to fewer attacks that might give me a game over. What was that sound? Did anyone hear laughing just now? Several hippies, wallies, crows, and dogs later, I earned the wooden bat. It doubles my base attack. At the southern end of town, a townie accuses me of being a zombie. Then he attacks me. It's a pseudo-zombie. In battle, he appears quite different than his overworld sprite does. Now he takes the form of a skinny, creepy adult male wearing only orange shorts and looking at me with menacing orange eyes and bearing 2 orange teeth. His hands are outstretched towards me, like a zombie. I bash him until he stops moving. I backtrack and explore east of town. Now a centipede attacks. Its yellow body stands erect, displaying green shoes, green mittens, and 2 cartoonish googly eyes. I bash it, and it goes down easy. Farther east, 2 cops block passage over a bridge that, according to the officers, can take me to the town of Marysville, but one of the officers hints that there is another way to Marysville northeast of the zoo, which is north of Podunk. I return south on my way to the graveyard. I enter a house near 2 bridges. A healer lives here who says he can restore my psychic points, or PP, which is the resource I use to cast Life Up, Alpha, and presumably other psychic abilities. The healer can also cure petrification at a cost. He also has a phone I can use, so I call Dad. As I walk south, the trees are losing their leaves. Instead of lush green boughs, all trees in this area are brown and leafless. I encounter more zombies. I bash them. I encounter 4 bats. Wait, no. I encounter 4 Mr. Bats. Purple bats with big white eyes and a large grin. They evade some of my attacks, and sometimes they waste their turn, quote, thinking about the circumstances. Eventually, I approach a brick wall with more dead trees and gravestones on the other side. We're here, at the graveyard. I must find the entrance. Okay, found it. When I enter, the music changes to eerie tones. I find a chapel and enter it. There's a person in a blue outfit who has trapped himself inside for fear of the zombie outbreak. Maybe he's a pastor? And I leave him here. My mission isn't to save the life of a pastor. It's to save the life of a little girl. Good luck, Reverend. A gang zombie draws near. He is a hog-nosed zombie with red eyes, a flesh-colored button-down shirt with a matching green suit coat, slacks, tie, and a bowler hat with orange leather shoes. He hits harder than the other zombies, but I take him down in 2 hits. A bubblegum pink condom with big expressive eyes, a wide grin, and open arms, calling itself a ghost, draws near. I strike it once, and it runs away. I discover that the foundation to one of the larger broken headstones in this graveyard is actually an entrance to an underground tunnel. I cast life up and go down. A staircase bathed in yellow light directs me to a door. Past that room, there are 4 caskets shaking in place. I pry the lid off one of the caskets and fight a pseudo-zombie. I pry the lid off the other 3. 2 have zombies in them, but the 4th has the missing girl, Pippi. She wears a pink outfit and has 2 red ponytails turned upwards, defying gravity. Pippi says, "What a brave boy I am to have found her." I can say yes or no to this. I say no to look cool. "You're brave. I hope we can meet again sometime." I say yes, teasing her. To show her gratitude, she gives me a shiny badge that will guard me. It's the Franklin badge. Let's go back to town. When we get into a fight, Pippi has stats. She fights with me in battles. She's only level 1 and with 32 health, no psychic points, and when she attacks, she does only a trace amount of damage. On our way back to Podunk, I show her how to kill zombies, bats, and whatever else gets in my way. Before long, I find another condom ghost, and we defeat it. When we get back to town, we go to the department store. I buy a sports drink, a $120 slingshot, which Pippi equips. Oh yeah, and when I get to the department store's pet counter, like a pet store, they offer me a canary. They want to sell it to me for $85. I decline. Then they say they'll give it to me for free, and I say yes. I receive a canary. Now, I could take Pippi back to her mom, or to the mayor, but now that I have this canary, I recall nearly getting my ass handed to me by a gorilla near a place called Canary Village. I decide to head in that direction and bring Pippi along because, well, I fear enemies is level scaling in this game and I want to be able to dish as much damage in one turn as I can. Before we depart, we get a room at a hotel. We behave ourselves, I promise. The next morning, I call Dad, and we make our way to Canary Village. As we leave town, I realize this game has a run button. When I push it, I move at double speed, but so too does every moving sprite on my screen. So, fair enough. I take a wrong turn and pass Pippi's house. Her mother is still outside, freaking out, looking for her. Hopefully she doesn't see I found her missing daughter, which sounds horrible. I'm just not ready to bring her home and put this crisis to an end. Am I a bad guy for thinking that? Alright. Now that I'm on the right track, I find another brick wall which encloses more dead trees. Is this another graveyard? I can see me-sized chocobos walking around in this massive enclosure. This must be Canary Village. I find about 10 of these chocobos, but none of them want to talk to me. They just spit ellipses points. I find a row of several tall yellow gravestones. The center one is white. I check it and I get prompted with a question mark, but nothing else happens. There's a man here. He looks like the healer who was just outside the graveyard south of town. He says the canary in my possession looks like the baby of Singing Laura, one of the canaries in this village, and that I ought to return the baby to her. But where is Laura? I can see that there's one chocobo out of reach. She's behind the white gravestone. Oh, okay. After some trial and error, I can reach this chocobo by walking behind that question mark gravestone. When I give Laura the baby, she's overjoyed with emotion and begins singing. Part of a melody plays and the screen flickers with hallucinogenic bars of color. Am I having a seizure? Nintendo remembers the tune. In our status bar, a second music note has been added to our melody meter. Looks like we have 6 to go. It's about this time that I realized Pippi was kind of unnecessary and that there are no battles here. I return to the mayor. He congratulates me on my ability to do my civic duty. He claps. He says, "Now, pretty Pippi, don't forget to tell your mom that the mayor saved you." He gives me $100 for completing the mission. Now that he's moving around in his office, I can see the mayor's model better. He wears a purple shirt, black pants, and a purple wide-brimmed hat, sort of like Gunther from Stardew Valley. He asks me if I want to see what's up at the zoo. Pippi leaves my party. She asks me if I think her hair needs styling. Not wanting to part ways, I am sad to see her go, and losing my cool composure, I say no. And she says I didn't need to give an answer and calls me cutie. The mayor's assistant gives me a zoo key. When I talk to the assistant again, they give me another zoo key. They are a dime a dozen, they say. I walk north of Podunk with the zoo as my destination. Pippi's house is on the way, and I drop by. Her mother thanks me. Pippi has heard all about my wonderful adventures, although I haven't done shit since I last saw her. She says I am so brave, aren't I? I say yes, because I am a conceited fuck. She calls me swell-headed. Final note before the zoo, I am unable to ask Pippi to return the $120 slingshot back to me. We made almost zero use out of it, and that was just not a very good investment. On my way to the zoo, I wonder how many hippies and wallies I've bashed by now. Liberals and conservatives alike, they're all worth $35 to me. Another thing that crosses my mind as I'm walking to the zoo, besides that one woman in Podunk, nobody else has mentioned the poltergeist. Okay, I'm here now. A row of pink tulips marks my way to the entrance of the zoo. Suddenly, a Lil saucer draws near. It's a small gray disc with an upraised area in the center, tiny circular red windows, and a rim with white rivets. It has high speed and it can shield itself, but I destroy it in 3 hits. I approach a metal fence, and a crocodile draws near. It's large and yellow. Sometimes it waits to turn, approaching me slowly, and 2 hits make it go quiet. I make a complete circle around the zoo's fencing. I pass a gate guarded by a monkey. I don't even talk to him. I keep going. On the north side, I see the land ends at verdant cliffs with white caps of waves crashing below. There are golfer holes pockmarking the ground, but I don't see any golfers here. As I'm leveling up, I'm learning new PSI abilities, but I don't see them in the battle's PSI menu. After doing some looking around, I discovered that the ability list in the battle menu and the ability list in the overworld menu have different inclusions. By now, I've got hypnosis and defense up. And I've also got this thing called 4th D slip. I think that's short for 4th dimensional slip. And when you use it in battle, it's almost like a free escape. Despite all of these neat abilities like hypnosis and defense up, let's be real here. The path of least resistance to finishing these fights as fast as possible is simply bashing. So I don't really leverage much of these skills right now. 2 alligators draw near. With only 1/3 of my health, this causes me some unique alarm. Even after a life up on turn 1, one gator crits me, the other gators hit connects, and I run out of health. I faint. Wait, hold on. Where am I?
This is the EarthBound Beginnings game over counter. You have 1 game over. Come on, dude.
Who are you?
I'm the game over kid, and I count your game overs.
You're the game over kid and you count my game overs. Great.
So, what killed you?
I have to explain myself?
This is the game over counter.
You know what? Fine, whatever. 2 alligators killed me.
Dang, that's gotta hurt. But you can't be getting game overs, and you cannot be letting children die, okay?
I know that.
You have to do better. I don't want to come back here again, because I swear, if I do...
Okay. I'll do better. Holy crap, what was that all about? Getting back to the game here, this is what really happens when your party dies or everyone has an incapacitating status effect like petrify or paralyze. I appear in a dark room under a spotlight. A voice calls out to me, Ninten, you seem to be worn out from fighting. One more time? I say continue. And then I reappear at my last save in Podunk. I'm out of psychic points here and I've lost some of my money. I run home and ask my mom to make me a prime rib dinner. Delicious. Psychic points restored. When I return to the area around the zoo, a tiger draws near. He's big and skulking towards me and baring his fangs. I bash him until he goes quiet. Then an elephant draws near. Big, gray, tusked, and charging towards me. I'm afraid of this guy and I cast defense up. When it charges me, it deals only a trace amount of damage. Man, this defense up skill must be really powerful. After a few hits, the elephant goes quiet. Then a fly-A appears, but there's no fly-B. It's small, silver-bodied, and all of its arms and legs have blue mittens or booties. It cries for help, and then, Fly B joins. But I bash them, and they go away. Uh-oh, I run into 2 crocs again. Rather than a first turn life up, I do a defense up. Easy. These guys are toast. The defense up ability gives a lot of physical defense. When I'm feeling ready, I speak with the monkey at the gate, who promptly steals my zoo key and runs off into the zoo with it. Precarious music plays. The rabbits are still in the rabbit enclosure, but other enclosures have broken areas of fencing. I find the panda enclosure. They're still there, and they are cute. I find the monkey enclosure, but there's no way inside to speak with the other monkeys. I have become so experienced by now that the next time I encounter 2 alligators, I finish one in one hit, dodge the second's attack, and finish the second one on my second turn. This is a far cry from the other alligator duo's win on me earlier. I find the flamingo enclosure. Several are resting with one leg standing up near a pond, and north of that enclosure is a sign that says, "One of a kind. See the amazing singing monkey." Given that the canary in Canary Village sang me an important song earlier, I feel like I should seek this monkey out. In the zoo's southeast corner, I find a tall yellow building. It's called City Zoo Superintendent's Office. I enter and flies attack. They call their buddies for assistance, but when I defeat one, they all flee. The music here is absolutely grating on the ears. What the hell is this? I keep looking around, and in one of the rooms I find a present. I am a child. I open presents. So I open it. There's a rope? Okay, I've got a rope. Hold on. Why does every interior room in this game have the same ugly buttercream yellow on its walls and floors? I'm getting tired of looking at it. Alright, there's a present in another room. An antidote. Seems like a smart thing to have in a zoo administration building. In this third room, third present. Bread. It's mine because I am a kid, and kids open presents. This building is also infested with rats. I get my Charlie Kelly on again. Just when I'm about to wonder how many more rats I'll run into, on the third floor of this building, I enter a room with a floating blue and white pill, like a capsule, but it's as large as a piece of furniture. It's twitching in the center of the room. I life up and I check it. Suddenly, from inside the capsule appears an alien. It's a Starman Jr. and a fight breaks out. What I'm seeing though is that this Starman is a spacesuit of one shiny plasticine texture, and he's got his hands on his hips in a power pose. He's got a black slat visor, military badge like accolades on its breast, and its arms come to an end like a tentacle akin to a starfish. He looks like he means business. But when he casts a beam spell on me, my Franklin badge reflects the spell, but does no damage to him in return. In 3 hits, he's gone. The capsule blinks red and white and then escapes out of the building. That awful, grinding sound has died down. The zoo, once more, became a safe place, and music that I can tolerate begins to play. I return to the singing monkey's pen. He sings with a passion. The screen ripples with psychedelic bars of red, pink, and white as a few notes play. Nintendo remembers the tune. 3 out of 8 melodies confirmed. As I'm leaving the zoo, I think I missed the penguin enclosure, but they're here too. Alright, I come back to Podunk and I speak with the mayor again. He says I have tiger droppings on my clothes. Just joking. Dude, I have tiger viscera on this baseball bat. You don't want me to show you it. So, what now? The mayor's secretary says she's heard of a wonderful girl that will help me on my trip. She has no follow-up info, although I have several questions about this. The only logical place for me to go next is Marysville, but is the police blockade still there? I check. Yes, the blockade is still there. And they won't let me through, but they do remind me of the other path by the zoo. It's also blockaded, but perhaps by more lenient cops, and so I go there. Let me tell you, I am thrilled to do this much backtracking. I find those more possibly lenient cops. One of them says that the cave ahead has a strange rock in it and I should take a look. The other cop says the curfew is lifted, but travel was never restricted. So why are these cops here? The cop also deduces that I know telepathy, but how did he figure that out? You know what? I still don't know how this skill works. Every time I use it, nothing happens. Rocky cliffs rise up around me as I turn southeast, and a cave entrance lies at the end of this valley I find myself in. I enter. The music in this cave is kind of creepy. A lonely path surrounded by black emptiness takes me to a tall, pink seashell, perhaps 15 feet tall. I check it. It says a voice is speaking to me in my mind. Okay, so let's try telepathy here. Oh my god, it works. I'm prompted with the following. Who has lost his tail? I refer to my great-grandfather's diary for the answer. The forgotten one of the ship that sails the cosmos, I say. Then I disappear. I reappear in a magical paradise? Is this Atlantis or heaven? Magical aquatic music plays. The walkable areas here are scatters of pink and white clouds, or maybe they are just polished stones. Behind me is a tall, twisting shell of white, perhaps my waypoint back to the cave. There's a furry animal swimming playfully in the turquoise waters that course through the area. It says, I am a swimming cat. Then it hints that magic candy can improve my power. There's a gnome here, he's in a red shirt and a wizard cap, and he says I look funny, but for some reason he likes me. There are several houses here built into enormous pink shells. I must be in a town of some kind. One of the denizens, also a gnome in a funny hat, says if I put a red weed into the fountain, it will become a magic herb. Someone else wants to put a broken earring in the fountain, and maybe it will become a magic earring. A third gnome wishes she could go into the castle to see Queen Mary. I keep exploring this town and meet some more of the locals. I meet the mysterious mimicker, who rehearses all the things Dad says when I call him, including saving my game. How strange. Another gnome says he'll give me the big bag if I hand him my cash card. I hand him my cash card. Oh my god, what the fuck have I done? I return later, and he returns the cash card to me, then gives me the, quote, big bag. And every time I use the bag, I get a free magic herb out of it and eat it, restoring health. There's another gnome here that calls itself a mysterious goods keeper. He's like Mimi, or was it Minnie? One of the sister that stores my items. The same items that I've saved with my sister are also here with the mysterious goods keeper as well. Boy, these wizards are obsessed with Queen Mary's fountain. I really gotta find this thing. I learned that deep in the woods nearby, there is a guitar player who is a hermit. According to the gnomes, it seems that this land exists in another reality, like in a dream. They say that when you arrive here in the land of Magicant, they do not return. So I'm here in the land of Magicant. One has a bent spoon. I unbend it with my PSI powers, and he invites me to stay the night. There is a music store here. It's expecting an ocarina, but it's never arrived. A local doctor restores my status without asking my permission. And at the north end of town, there are 3 shell houses that each have a number 7 over their doors. One is a shop that sells peace coins, protect coins, and magic coins, and I can afford none of them. Where's the ATM gnome? The second, number 7 shell, sells brass rings, silver rings, and gold rings, and I can afford none of them. The third, number 7 shell, is a shop that sells repel rings, H2O pendants, fire pendants, and earth pendants, and I can afford none of them. When I leave town, I get into a fight with a voodoo. It is a Trent. It has 2 wooden legs, a long Pinocchio nose, grinning face, upraised arms, and the top of its head is flat like a stump. His attack did something strange, and now I am puzzled. He sows seeds around himself, and now there is a second voodoo. Now there's a third. Great. I'm puzzled, and Nintendo daydreams instead of attacks. There is nothing I can do here until I stop daydreaming. After a few turns, I come back to normal, get a crit on the first voodoo, who was, quote, beaten. Eventually I take down the other 2 as well. Elsewhere in Magicant, I find a monkey who confesses it does not sing, and he asks me if I have any questions. I say yes. He says questions are ridiculous. End of conversation. There's a cat that swims in the ground here. It wants me to guess what's in its hand. I use telepathy on it. I'm getting good at this. I guess ribbon. That is correct, but it won't hand it to me because I am not a girl. Yikes, dude. Another gnome in town wanted me to guess what's for dinner. I tried telepathy on her, but nothing happens. West of town, there is a forest of palm trees. And I meet a man. It's the guitar player I've heard about earlier. He's wearing a blue bandana and a blue outfit with a guitar across his back. He says when I become really strong, I should see him again. I encounter a Rabe Edit. R-A-E-B-Y-D-D-E-T. That's teddy bear spelled backwards. He's a large green teddy bear that wears Coke bottle glasses. I bash him, and he stops moving. Now I encounter 2 magic snails. They have slimy yellow bodies, and their shells have a red and white peppermint lozenge pattern on them. They hit hard and have high defense. The next time I encounter Rabe Edit, he's invited a Sky Edit, which is a blue variation of the Rabe Edit, but has wings now. When I defeat the Rabe Edit, the other one hits me for 180 damage. I die. Oh no, it's the game over kid again.
This is the EarthBound Beginnings game over counter, and you, my friend, got a game over again. What killed you this time?
I don't want to say.
Tell me.
Please don't make me do this.
This episode cannot keep going until you tell me, dude.
Fine. A teddy bear. A teddy bear killed me.
Teddy bear? Seriously? A little baby toy?
It was a magical teddy bear.
Whatever. Stop getting game overs. I don't want to come back here a third time, okay? Jeez.
Going forward, when I enter into a very uncertain fight, I'm just going to use defense up right away. It makes a huge difference versus these snails, but I expect the sky teddies are still too strong for me. Northwest of Shell Town, I find the Fountain. A magnificent white shell with twisting layers spirals upwards, surrounded by 8 smaller columns above a pool of water. Touching it restores my health. There are 2 human-like creatures nearby. They're not gnomish like the denizens I've talked about earlier. They are shirtless, hooded humanoids with big black eyes. Or they could be completely eyeless, with big fleshy heads, shirtless bodies, and pink pants and shoes. One of them says that you can hear the sound of another world coming from a field of holes east of town. Now I encounter a Groucho, which is a disembodied pair of beady eyes with red irises, a nose, and a tuft of mustache hair. I assume this is a Groucho Marx reference. It says hello and it walks away. When the battle ends, I still earn experience. North of the castle, I find a house with 5 flying men, or anthropomorphic falcons. The first one I talk to says it is his destiny to help me, and he joins the party. They all say they cannot wait to serve me. The next Rabe I see with his winged friend, I 4th D slip the fuck out of there. These flying men, they do not have battle stats, and they're not controllable in battle, but they do participate in battles. I arrive at the gate of Queen Mary's castle. There are 3 guards, and they're each wearing orange robes and a hat that looks like a spotted mushroom. One of the guards will let me through if I solve his riddle, but he does not prompt me with the riddle. There's a red weed growing nearby, and I place it in the fountain. It does indeed turn into a magic herb. Now I encounter a Watcher. It looks exactly like a Groucho, except it's just the eyes. I bash it and it goes down. Now I encounter a 4 eyes. It is 2 pairs of eyes in a 2x2 formation. I crit it and it dies. Man, there's a lot of eyes around here. I'm wandering around now, not sure what to do next. I use telepathy on the fountain and an old man emerges. He functions as an ATM. This gives me an idea. Let's use the telepathy on the mushroom riddler. Before I speak with him, I spend all of my money on a magic coin, a gold ring, and an H2O pendant. I equip them all. I cast telepathy on the Riddler. The answer is 2 alligators, although the guard hasn't shared his riddle with me yet. Hold on. 2 alligators is the answer to the riddle? That was the fight that gave me my first game over. Quiet you. Is this a coincidence, or is EarthBound Beginnings remembering the first fight I got a game over on, only to display it again here? The guards yield to my galaxy brain, and I am invited to enter Queen Mary's castle. Queen Mary's Castle is the largest structure I've seen in this game so far. It is an enormous palace of pink shells twisting upwards into several enchanting minarets, with a single white spire in the back center stretching up much higher than the others. Inside, the rooms have emerald green walls and a reflective emerald floor. In a side room, I see more of these fountain men, those hooded, fleshy ones. Maybe they're her royal court, although they look kind of creepy. Also, you know what? This is an aside. They look like precursors to the Pig Mask Army too, although they're much more compassionate than the Pig Mask Army. One of these creatures says, "I wish I could hear the queen sing again." Another one says, "The queen shouts, 'I'm scared,' when she has nightmares, and then begins to sing a bit." He then wonders what kind of trauma Queen Mary has encountered. I see a room with 3 presents. I am a child. I open presents. So I open them. There's a flash dark. Yeah, a flash dark. A magic herb and an antidote. I only have room for the flash dark, which, according to its description, well, is, the opposite of a flashlight. Another room is 4 presents. I am a child. I open presents. Antidote. Bullhorn. Magic herb. And the 4th is empty. Another room has 6 presents. I inspect them all. Fight capsule. PSI stone. Boomerang, rope, ruler, and berry tofu. I drop the rope I found in the zoo administration office and open the boomerang present. All the other presents open spontaneously and are now empty. I equip the boomerang. My offense goes from 51 to 71. Wow, that's a huge jump. Between this boomerang and my new defensive items, I'm feeling pretty formidable. I find the throne room. A long red carpet runs along the reflective green floor and takes me to Queen Mary's throne where she's sitting. She says, "Welcome. Here, everyone is my friend. I can have as much as I like of whatever I want." I say I want to hear her song, but she says she can't sing. She begs me to learn her magical melody, and it's only 8 bars long. When I have all 8, I should return and sing it to her, and that's all she has to say. Her handler says an onyx hook can warp me to Magicant at any time, but he does not give me one. He tells me to promise him that if I need help, I will return. Boy, he's more emotionally invested in this than I am. I think he should join my party, but I'm unable to invite him. I'll leave the castle. Okay, so the one part of this area I haven't explored yet is the Field of Holes southeast of the castle. So I go there. They look more like wells to me. Here in this place I encounter Dad's eyes. They're the same usual disembodied eyes I'm seeing all over the place, but these ones have gray eyebrows. That's literally the only distinction. Dad's eyes was beaten. Okay, there are wells everywhere. Oh my god, there are Mom's eyes too. Okay, they're like Dad's eyes, but these have long orange eyelashes. it does a continuous attack that targets my flying man. The wells are all dead ends but one. In this well, I climb down a ladder into an icy labyrinth of black rooms with walls made of gargantuan blocks of ice. The room has two paths that open up into different rooms, and those rooms have two paths that open up into yet another room with another two paths. After trial and error, I determine how to navigate the labyrinth. There are mom's eyes and dad's eyes down here. I don't really like the feeling of my parents watching me suck at this basic labyrinth layout. Also, an Ulrich appears. It's a large, disembodied blue head with chubby cheeks, two diminutive hands, and piercing eyes. The top of its head ties off like it's a bag or a whoopee cushion. I defeat it in one hit. In one dead end, I run into a sleeping orange dragon. It is not wakeable. That may be for the best. Then I walk over to an opening in the ground, and a fish attacks. This fish monster is called simply Fish. It is a yellow-green fish with spiked dorsal fins and a toothy grin. In its first attack, it smashes the flying man, who has been defeated. Then it does a continuous attack, but after a defense up ability, it hardly scratches me. I defeat it. In the room behind it, I find an onyx hook. Hey, that's what the queen's handler was talking about. I press forward and find a present with a sword in it. My inventory is full, but this seems like something I should make room for. I throw out the antidote and take the sword, but Nintendo cannot equip it. A little farther down the ice maze, a man is blocking a doorway. The Forgotten Man. He's grappling with being alone. He says, "I am the Forgotten Man. I'm not really here. You didn't have to notice me. Please ignore me." I speak with him again. He says, "He is a man who does not exist, but I talk so kindly. He doesn't know what to do. If I miss people, I cannot live alone anymore." I speak with him a third time. He says, "My conversation is always a monologue." Yep, I can see that, pal. "I've been alone from the moment I was born. ... I speak with him a fourth time. "Lucky, unlucky, it makes no difference to me. Sometimes even breathing becomes too much." On the fifth time, he says, "Why do you insist on talking to me?" "Well, you're in my way and I want to get out of this icy hellhole." "Are you a forgotten man too?" I can answer yes or no to this. I say no. He says, "That's right. That is right, right?" What the hell, game? "Go ahead. Ignore me like everyone else." Another yes/no prompt. I say yes, and the Forgotten Man disappears from the bowels of the dream world, granting me access to the room beyond. I reappear in a cave similar to the one that transported me to Magic Hand, with another pink shell sitting behind me. I check the shell, and I disappear again. Well, where the hell am I now? I'm in another cave. I emerge into what looks like the real world again, complete with green grass, lush trees, and rolling hills. I encounter a Barbot. It's a tall, slender robot made of silver metal with two mantis-like eyes. A robot made from a bar. Then I encounter two skunks. Haha, they go down easy. I encounter two little saucers. Yep, I recognize you guys. Alright, you know what? Let's check the map. Okay, I am south of Marysville. Then a fugitive draws near, and so too does a rope. This rope is exactly like the Noose Man from EarthBound. The fugitive is an overweight, poorly dressed, hog-nosed Mr. Mime wearing a purple and white striped shirt and red slacks with a red tongue hanging out of its head. The rope used rope, and now I am bound by rope. I defeat the rope, but the fugitive kills me. Uh-oh, she is not going to be happy about this.
This is the EarthBound Beginning game over counter, where once again you got another game over. That's 3.
Hi again.
Wasn't I just here like 20 minutes ago?
Yeah?
Come on, dude. What's your excuse this time? Wait, let me guess. A little unicorn stabbed you.
No, a thug and his friend jumped out of nowhere. They tied me up and beat me up. It isn't my fault.
Seriously? Seriously? Nice excuse, dude, but that's not funny.
I'm serious, though.
I don't care. Don't let it happen again, or I swear to God.
Man, she is harsh.